Hey guys, I want to welcome you and let you know how great it is to have you here for the Greater Purpose Podcast.
What's up? That's how they got Welcome to the Greater Purpose Podcast from the Cubs room. How's it feel to be here?
That's pretty awesome, Bill.
Cool.
I'm a big baseball card collector myself, so it's cool to see somebody else's room every time.
I love it. I love it when actual baseball fans come in, because sports fans are impressed. I don't want to use the word impressed, whatever. Non-sports fans are even impressed, but baseball fans are like, so yeah. You will notice that the producer's chair is still empty here on Christmas Day. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Oh wait, the producer's not here, but I can don the official Chicago Cubs. Let's see, how's that? Get it there.
There you go.
There you go.
Now it's officially Christmas.
It is officially Christmas. Merry Christmas 2023 out there, guys, ladies, gentlemen, kids. Anthony, my biggest podcast fan. If you haven't watched Anthony's podcast, Anthony Wright, he's 4 years old. Wait, is he 5 yet? 4, I think. Anyway, he came in and he calls me Mr. Podcast. So came in and we did an interview with him. He's my producer's son.
Okay.
So that was the only way to get my producer in here was to. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I give Stephen Wright a hard time. Stephen, you know I love you, brother. I appreciate you. He got us started on the podcast, so we appreciate that. Before we get to do anything else, before we do introductions, don't forget to log on to bwasap.com. You can link to all the podcasts, to the web pages, to my executive producer, which is my wife, to her Avon. Did you know she's an Avon lady?
No, I didn't.
You didn't know that.
I didn't.
Do you care that she's an Avon?
My wife might, but I don't.
Ah, there you go. All right. So yeah. And by the way, we know there are ladies out there watching. We've been told this. So
Awesome.
it's the Greater Purpose Podcast is generally geared toward men and their inspirations, but we understand that everyone can be inspired by God's word and God's path. So we appreciate that. Oh, wait, before we start, let's have Mr. Rogers say a word for us here real quick. No, not that one. I don't think. No, that's not good one either. No, I don't like that. Come on. Okay, never mind. He's not helping me out today. He's got a couple of really good ones in there, and they never play when I want them to.
Of course.
Yeah, so anyway, but here we are on Christmas Day, welcoming Jake Brewer. I know him as the Leprechaun from the Grizzlies for many years, so you guys may remember him out there, but he is going to tell you who he is real quick.
Yeah, I'm Jake Brewer.
Thank you very much. Have a great time.
I refer to myself as the youth guy usually.
The youth guy. Okay.
But I'm the ministry resident at First Baptist Church of Stanley.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. So, and from?
I'm originally from Franklin, North Carolina.
Gotcha.
But I live in Stanley now.
Gotcha. Franklin. That's out toward the mountains, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
yep.
Cool.
Appalachian Mountains. I refer to it as God's country.
Yes, of course. And so you're over at First Baptist?
Yep.
And you have a podcast?
Yes. I have
Tell us about your podcast.
I have a YouTube channel. It's called Legends Never Die, where I say, when I introduce my channel, I say, Legends never die, and neither will you if you know Jesus. It's about baseball cards in my collection, but I do often share the gospel and Bible verses on my channel. And then as far as the podcast goes, it's called Cracking Cooperstown.
Yeah.
And it's about all things Hall of Fame for the baseball collecting and the actual Hall of Fame itself.
Nice, cool. Yeah. Anything in here that might fit into that category?
Yeah, man. I saw. I really like your Harry Carey autograph photo up there. That's really cool.
There you go.
And I'm sure not many people can identify the Dave Kingman autographed helmet over there.
Oh,
that's
he's
cool.
good. He knows the autographs.
Yeah,
I need to break out the autograph book and see if you
can
point and know who's who there. So, but anyway, let's get into the format of the podcast here. So when did you first recognize, understand, begin to comprehend that it was important to be a godly man?
Okay. So I guess, I was fortunate enough that I was raised in church. I came to know Christ at an early age, 7 years old. And as I grew in my faith and walked in that,
So that was like, what, 10 years ago?
yeah, something like that, give or take. I take off my hat and you might change my mind. No, like as I became a teenager, my dad was a strong influence on that.
Nice.
And one of my big dreams was to always have a family, have children of my own.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that the right way, you need to be a godly man and pursue the things of the Lord.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, my hat's you know how to wear the hat better than I do.
I have worn mine every day of December.
That's right. I know that. That's why I did this. Because I've seen you every day. There we go. Is that better? I got the little twist going.
You got it now. You got it off to the side. Looks good. Yeah,
I know.
looks
Yeah,
good.
right. Yeah.
You're a pro now.
All right. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah. So, in that inspiration, you mentioned your dad. Is there anybody else that was a big inspiration for you? Or do you want to specify about him, maybe why he was such an inspiration?
Sure. So my dad, obviously, it was important for him to take myself and my brother and his family to church and teach us about God. I believe, as he did, that as a godly man and as a father, your first mission field is your own household.
Yeah.
To lead your family as best you can to Christ. So he did that for me. A few other men that were inspirational to me for different reasons. Pastor Lewis Smith. He is now one of the directors for Baptist Children's Homes.
Okay.
But he was a pastor at a church I grew up in as a teenager. And then Jason Ballard, who was the former pastor at FBC Stanley. He helped discern my call to ministry for myself.
Nice. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah,
that
cool.
was about 3.5 years ago now.
Yeah, from leprechaun to pastor.
Yes. And one of my other big inspirations, not so much a spiritual one, but a big inspiration to me was Jesse Cole.
Yeah, there you go.
Who I worked for the Gastonia Grizzlies and the Savannah Bananas.
Savannah Bananas.
You know,
like everybody knows Savannah Bananas.
Yes.
Nationwide.
Yes.
That's
So
pretty cool.
Fans First Entertainment, working with them.
Yeah. So he was a good guy behind the scenes too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Jesse and Emily are great people.
Yeah.
I love them very much.
Nice.
I still talk to them from time to time.
Yep.
Took my youth group to Savannah 2 years ago to a game, and they treated us well.
Nice. We should get Jesse in here.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of cool, right?
Definitely, that'd be fun. Like old times.
Yeah.
With the leprechaun.
We're bringing
yellow
some
socks.
mentors in and stuff at some point. Maybe we should do that.
We like to make that happen.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. But anyway, sorry.
It's okay. And then the fifth one. It's actually I'm gonna.
I was going right into the 5 here.
I'm gonna give you your fifth one.
No, you're good.
I guess a preview. One of your future guests here. My current pastor. Which is Tommy McCluskey,
Yep.
The pastor at First Baptist now.
Nice.
He's really helped me to grow in my leadership capacity at the church and in the community.
So that's cool. Yeah, and you guys it's nice watching you guys interact over there. So I go to First Baptist to walk on the track and get exercise, but have some conversations, stop by and talk to you guys, and it's nice to see you guys interact, and it seems like you work real well together on that. That's an inspiration too, so that's pretty cool. So all right, so you jumped right into the 5, from the inspiration to all of the inspirations. That means you got to do 5 others on that. No, I'm just kidding.
Put me on the spot.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. We don't have to do that, but we might. So how do you think, so you're working with youth, you're into sports, all that kind of stuff. How are you most effective in taking all the inspiration you've had to be a godly man, and how are you most effective in affecting other, effective and affecting? Yeah, I usually get that right. Jason Williams congratulated me for getting it right now. I can get it right. Effective in affecting other lives, specifically men and boys, and being godly men and boys. Yeah.
Sure. So I think before I even realized that I had a calling in ministry. The important thing that I discovered about myself that really became eye-opening was that I was always about people and bringing people together. So like growing up, I was the guy that organized the pickup basketball games. You know, I'm the one calling and texting everybody, hey, we're getting a game together. You coming, you in. That was my role, kind of in a leadership capacity before I realized it. And then when I was with Fans First, the Grizzlies and the Bananas, my role was with our membership program. So building relationships with people, bringing them to be a part of what we were trying to accomplish as a family. Right. So it was literally part of my role was to memorize people's names and their dogs' names and their favorite sports teams and what they liked and what they didn't like. And to me, I discovered about myself that I cared about bringing people together and building those relationships. Over time, I took over our roles with groups, especially with a focus on faith night in churches. Okay. So that became important to me. And when I would go into a church, being a Christian myself, like I speak the same language. That was hard to crack for a baseball team.
Gotcha.
We're a baseball team. This is what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
For me, it was different because Faith Night I saw as a platform to share my testimony and witness to others. Yeah. And I was able to marry the two. I was allowed to do that.
Yeah, we enjoyed those, by the way. We went to, I think, almost all of them at the Grizzlies, the Faith Nights. So, yep, we appreciated those. So,
yeah, that became a big thing. And I got to know a lot of people in the ministry in the area before I was in it myself.
Right.
Because as time went on, I realized that it wasn't enough to do that 75% of the time as part of my job. I felt like I had a greater purpose.
There you go. That's awesome.
And I needed to do it 100% of the time.
Nice.
And that's when I answered the call to ministry. Yeah. Now, how that translates to what I do now.
Yeah.
I'm over our youth. I'm over our sports camps. Yeah. I work daily with our daycare program and after-school program. Yeah. And I'm also the director for our small groups. So now I get to bring kids, youth, and adults together to build relationships. Because what we like to say that kind of is an all-encompassing umbrella for that is to know Jesus and to make him known. So my job is to get people there to grow relationships with each other and ultimately with God.
That's cool. Yeah. Matter of fact, since I do classes over there, these STEM classes with the kiddos, occasionally they'll accidentally call me Mr. Jake. Not because I look like Mr. Jake, which is okay, but because they're not around men all the time. They're around women all the time. So if there's a man around, a pastor, a custodian, or whoever, and another man becomes involved in their activities there, they tend to trade the names of the two people. It doesn't matter what the guys look like. Listen, there's been African American 6'5", 250-pound guys, and they called me his name. So so anyway, but it's kind of cool to see the kids and how they react to you over there. That's an inspiration too, and especially when you're playing dodgeball.
I love doing that stuff.
And he changes the rules like right in the. He thinks I'm not. So I'm walking around the track up there, and he thinks I'm not. Nobody's listening, and I'm listening to what he says. So I'm like, dude, he just changed the rules on him, just like right in the middle of the game. I love it.
Got to mix them up, keep them on their toes.
They have fun with it too, and you're connecting with it, so that's pretty cool. All right, so listen, you already did the 5 men. Do you want to do 5 something else's?
Sure, why not?
Which one? Go ahead, pick.
Let's see. Let's do
5 men, 5. You did 5 men, 5 women, 5 heroes of the faith, 5 Bible favorites, like a book, a psalm, a proverb, a testament, or Old Testament verse, New Testament verse, anything you want to do, or mix and match. You can mix and match. See? Well, by the way, my executive producer made me stop calling you. You people can't see this, but it's scratched out. It used to say Fast 5. Because my executive producer, who's my wife, said you need to stop rushing them through this because they would get into something and they wanted to expand on it. And I'm like you're trying to get it done. You've got a podcast and you got a time, you're trying to get in that time limit. So we don't do that anymore. So you can just really go at it.
Let's do 5 women. I did 5 men. Let's do 5 women.
That sounds good. Cool.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Have to start with my mom, of course,
cool.
Who is someone that I get a lot of my personality traits from that assist me in relating to people and sharing the gospel, that kind of thing. My mom has never met a stranger. So, like me, not afraid to talk to anybody, not afraid to get out there and do those kind of things.
Cool. Yeah.
She'll come down here and visit. I'm from almost 3 hours away, and she'll strike up conversations with people in the grocery store.
Love it.
And not one time, but a few different times, she has shared a faith component or witnessed to people in that capacity. Cool. So definitely my mom, she exhibits those traits. A second one, I think of Katie Lougee, who's our children's director at the church. She works with me, and she's been a godsend for those kids. You're talking about how some of those kids at the daycare may react to a male figure differently. Sure. When some capacities, there are things that a woman is better suited for to teach little kids. Sure. So she's a blessing for that. She gets them prepared by the time they get to me at youth.
Gotcha. Okay. There you go. Right.
So her. A third one would be my wife. I'd be remiss if I couldn't if I didn't mention my
Yeah.
wife. She makes me a better Christian. And the Bible says there to be a helpmeet,
Yeah.
to help grow our own relationship with God, and,
Yep.
and she definitely does that, and does that for my son. So her, a fourth one, I had mentioned one half of the dynamic duo. I guess I've got to mention the other.
Okay.
Jesse's wife, Emily.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She is probably the most caring person
Wow.
I've ever met. Fans First Entertainment is about every game is someone's first game. You care for people, and everything else will take care of itself.
That's cool.
And she embodies that for people.
Very nice.
So I admire her a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fifth one, Tiffany. You know Tiffany.
Oh yeah,
our church secretary.
Sure yeah.
Because I work with her on a daily basis, and while she's part-time, she doesn't function like part-time, and she doesn't accomplish things.
She does.
As
she
gets
stuff done.
She does it all.
You wonder why things get done over there. You know, it's
it is all
Tiffany.
Tiffany.
Yeah.
It's not me. It's not Tommy. It's definitely Tiffany.
Right. I'm supposed to tell everybody that. Make it look like, that's cool. That's awesome. So listen, guys. So listen. He's mentioned so many different people. There are people in your life that are inspirations to you. You need to be intentional about thanking them, appreciating them, following them. But on the other hand, we need to be intentional about being those people as well, because there are going to be people in our lives that we can bless, that we can touch, guide, motivate, mentor, and direct. Mm-hmm. So that's real important. I wanted to go back to something you said about you got to know so many of the pastors through the Faith Night. So what was the reaction when they knew you were coming into the ministry? Did you get, I'm just curious. I don't know why that strikes me as something to be curious about, but what was the reaction from those pastors, from that community of pastors? Because I know the community of pastors in Stanley is very tight. Mm-hmm. So I just didn't know. I mean, did you get, I know I congratulated you on your Facebook page, and I know a whole bunch of other people did, but I'm just wondering what some of those guys did. Did they reach out?
I guess it was, the best word that I could use was acceptance. Mm-hmm. Because I truly believe that, God's placed you wherever He's placed you in life, whatever profession you have, for a reason. And I just felt like baseball was my platform. Yeah. So I was blessed that Jesse and Emily were okay with that, number one, of me being myself and being a Christian and being open about that. But I was always very transparent. It was very obvious when I met with these pastors, like, okay, this guy's for real. Like, he's not just here to sell me tickets. Right, this really is for a greater purpose. Yeah. It's about, sharing faith, witnessing for Christ, being open about that. So the word I would use is acceptance. Cool. I was congratulated by a few different pastors that I got to know over the years, and many that I worked with then, I work with now. Nice. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was just wondering about that because we had a relationship media-wise beforehand, and then now on a different platform, I guess you'd call it. So it's kind of cool. Pretty neat stuff. So listen, all kinds of inspirations out there. They're there. You just got to be watching for them. Now, before we get into your sports story, I'm sure you have a great sports story. I'm waiting for this. I've been warned about this. But anyway, before we do that, we have to do your parting gifts.
Oh, okay.
Did you know you get parting gifts?
No, I didn't know I get parting gifts. Wow.
If you would watch the podcast all the way through, you would know. If you're like me, you watch the first 5 minutes of a podcast, maybe 10. Anyway, I apologize for that, for those of you who I watch part of your podcast out there. But at the end of the podcast, we always give up parting gifts to our wonderful guests. The first parting gift is a bottle of hand sanitizer. And you say, why? I say, because this is shameless plug for my business, Mr. Bill's STEM Education and Bill Ward Photography, and because I have 3 boxes of them and I got to get rid of them. So there's one of your parting gifts.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of your parting gifts. Now, the other parting gifts is something that you saw on the wall. You get to take one home. Man. I'm going to autograph this, and it will be worth exactly what it is right now as you walk out of the door.
Oh, wow.
Like nothing. But anyway, but I will autograph it anyway. And, I forgot to number one before. I'm supposed to number this. You are podcast number 41, so don't let me forget to number this. 41. My producer told me to do that. So I don't always listen to him. I always listen to my executive producer.
Of course.
But I don't always listen to my producer. So I will autograph that for you, and we'll put it in a protective sleeve before you leave. And you get to choose, and I'm sorry, but we're getting low here. Got to order a new batch, so you only have a few to choose from. A Lego superhero. And you say, why a Lego superhero?
Why a Lego superhero?
Exactly. See, everybody wants to know why. Because it's engineering. You have to build it. Science, technology, engineering, STEM. All right, so engineering, you have to build it. And because we believe that every man that comes on the Greater Purpose podcast is a superhero.
Oh,
so
right. Cool.
you get to choose from, I believe Black Hawk is his name.
Okay.
And for some reason, I have two of the same Thor. Don't know why. I have Batman. I have Vision. And I have, that looks like Thor from God and Thunder, maybe. So a different Thor. Maybe freaky looking makeup there. But anyway.
Let's do one of the original Thors.
Okay, you got it. There's Thor.
Awesome.
You are. That is
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you. See, these valuable, wonderful parting gifts.
That's great.
Hey, wait, let's see what Mr. Rogers has to say now, people.
There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are.
Oh,
That was much better. That was much better.
Perfect. That's what I was
That's
looking
good.
for. I need to count like when I press the button and see if there's some way to. Anyway, all right, cool. So, what is your sports-related story?
Okay.
Here we go.
So I'm a collector.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And I brought some things to show you today that I thought would be
All
cool.
right. And they're not Cubs, or maybe they are.
So my story is about how it's funny. You asked me to also do another one. I chose women. You asked how women can also be an inspiration for you.
Sure.
So my nanny, my dad's mother, okay, she's the reason I'm a Tar Heel basketball fan.
Okay.
She was a diehard Tar Heel basketball fan. She was also the reason I'm a collector.
Wow.
She was a collector.
No way. Cool.
Yeah. So when I was 10 years old and my brother was 7, she split up her collection between the two of us.
Wow.
And I've never stopped collecting to this day.
That's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I brought some things to show you from my collection.
All right.
All right.
Cool. Here we go.
So are you familiar? I'm going to test your Cubs knowledge.
Oh boy.
Are you familiar with Baseball's Sad Lexicon, the famous poem from the early 1900s?
About the sad poem about the goat? Not about the goat.
Nope.
The sad poem.
About the 3 players.
Oh. Not Tinker to Ever's a Chance. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
So Tinker to Ever's the Chance, where ground balls went to die.
Right.
Tinker to Ever's the Chance.
Yeah. Okay. When you said sad, I'm like, well, that wasn't necessarily sad. But okay, got it.
Sad for the people hitting the ground balls.
Right. There you go. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So early 1900s.
Yeah. Look at that. Whoa, that is cool.
Tinker.
Nice. Very nice. Cool. Yep.
And Evers.
Wow. Look at that. That is so cool.
And a Chance.
And a Chance. Nice.
So those are from 1909 to 1911.
I have duplicates of these, but I don't have the originals. These are actually the original from the cigarette companies.
Yep. Those are the originals that came out of Texas cigarettes in the early 1900s.
Cool. Yep. So those are, that is so cool. You going to recite the poem for us too?
No, I'm not going to recite the
I was
poem.
going to say I have terrible memory, so I can't even. I remember the poem, but and Tinker to Ever's Chance. But that is so cool. That is awesome.
And I've got one more.
Here we go.
One more. So this was against the Cubs. It was not good for the Cubs, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
But during the
Should we
World,
allow this? I don't know.
it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
Okay.
So during the World Series, Cubs against Yankees.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe the most famous baseball moment ever happened in this World Series. It was when a certain player pointed to the center field bleachers and hit a home run.
Right? Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Who hit the home run?
Supposed to be Babe Ruth. Yeah.
Babe Ruth.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
This is my Babe Ruth autograph.
Wow, that is cool. That's awesome. Certified. Nice. Look at that. That is very cool. Yep. The Homer and the Gloman, right?
Yep.
That's what they call that one.
That's right.
That's pretty cool. And he pointed. Now, there's all kinds of conjecture about whether he was just doing his bat and stuff, but I believe it was.
Right.
I believe it was. So, and you know what? It's not a good part of Cubs history, but it's still a part of Cubs history. So believe it or not, I have bad parts of Cub history in here too. So, including players that we got rid of for next to nothing, and they went on to like Greg Maddux. He's in here in multiple.
He's brave.
Places. Yeah, exactly. But he was a Cub. He started a Cub and he ended a Cub.
He did.
So just because you got him when he was like the greatest pitcher ever.
Yeah.
Anyway, cool. Well, those are very neat. That's awesome. Thank you for bringing those in. Thank you for being here and sharing your time with us. Thank you guys for being here on Christmas Day.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Subscribe, like, share. Jake knows this. You got to do all that stuff so we keep this stuff going. We appreciate you. God bless you. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in the new year. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate you being here, brother.
Thanks, Bill.
All righty. God bless.